All right, good evening, everyone. Oop, let me turn off. Okay. Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I would like to request a motion to call this meeting to order.
Stated. Councilmember Hobbs makes that motion.
Councilmember Harden will second that motion.
Okay, so Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2, Ward 3 is vacant, Ward 4.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Mayor Botay, yes. I'd like to just ask for a quick moment of silence for the victims of all the flooding and everything that's happening in California. It's horrible to see that happening in a community, so our hearts are with the people in California right now. All right, thank you. Okay, and now the Pledge of Allegiance. Actually, Chief, can you lead us in that? Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. So on tonight's agenda, we have a couple of presentations. One, we have a guest here with Habitat for Humanity, and then we have a guest with us with Defensores de la Cuenca. We'll then talk about the past and upcoming events. We'll open it up for resident and public comments. We then will talk, we'll ask committees and community groups to go ahead and report out. I'll give a quick mayor's report. We'll do an approval of minutes for November 15th, the meeting that we had then. I'll then ask the council members to give their reports. We'll ask staff to give their reports. We'll open it up for resident and public comments again. Old business is the car wash lot development. New business, approval payment and transfer from unreserved to code enforcement line item. Oh, and actually the approval of minutes also will be for November 2nd and November 9th of 2021. Okay, of 2021. Awesome, thank you so much. Are you all right with this agenda? Is there anything that anybody would like to add or that I'm missing? We're good? Awesome, all right, thank you. So I'd first like to call up Habitat for Humanity. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Hi, everyone. I think it's. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Redinger. I'm the Vice President of Community Development with Habitat for Humanity Metro Maryland. And I'm really excited to be here with you all tonight to sort of talk briefly about our organization and some of the programs and services that we have that might be offered to your residents. So Habitat for Humanity is an international organization. We work in about 70 countries. We've helped more than 70 million people across the world gain access to shelter. And what we do is we work through local organizations like ours. So ours is the Metro Maryland affiliate, and we work in Prince George's and Montgomery counties in Maryland. And basically, we are solely dedicated to providing access to affordable homeownership so that families can build generational wealth. That is our goal. And so we do that through a couple of different programs. One is through sort of our home purchase program. So Habitat for Humanity is kind of unique in that we are a developer. So we develop land. We are a licensed general contractor and a home remodeler company. So we build our own houses and we rehab our own houses. And then we are also a lender. So for the houses that we build, we provide a 30-year, typically 0% interest mortgage, making sure that those payments are affordable for families purchasing their homes so that they can live in a stable home and build wealth. And so we can build new construction, single family detached, townhomes. We're doing our first condo project, actually just now. And then we'd buy a lot of vacant foreclosed properties or distressed properties, gut them, make them like new. And then all of those opportunities are provided to families who are living and working in our communities, but typically can't access a conventional mortgage and conventional financing, whether that's due to cost of housing, previous credit issues, different things like that. We can be a lot more flexible in our lending guidelines. So we do have a couple of properties that we are going to open up applications for soon, and I have information about that on the table. It can be also found on our website as well. Unfortunately, they're not in the town, but if folks are interested and want to share that information, they're happy to. On top of that, we also work a lot on home preservation. So for folks who already own their homes, but maybe struggle to make necessary health and safety improvements, accessibility modifications, and energy efficiency upgrades, we have programs that are typically very low cost or free, available to income qualified residents. So those can be town residents who own their homes. Really, the main qualifications are that you own your home, you live in your home, you have homeowners insurance, and you're income qualified. That's about it. And so I've left, again, information on the table about those programs. It's also on our website. But those programs, so we have a repair program that can do somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 typically worth of work. We will cover, again, anything that's health, safety, accessibility related, and that can be dependent on the folks living in the home, right? So if folks have mobility issues and issues tripping over carpeting, we can replace carpeting with hardwood. We do a lot of ramps, a lot of grab bars, a lot of stair lifts, but also a lot of roof replacements, a lot of furnace replacements, and things like that. Our weatherization program is free, and that's another one where we can do a lot of appliance replacement. We can do air sealing and insulation in attics and in basements and crawl spaces. And sometimes through that program, we can also do furnace replacement or water heater replacement as well. So really with the idea of lowering the energy bills for folks, but also making sure that homes are comfortable to live in for people as well. And then we do offer a new Prince George's County program called the Homeownership Preservation Program, or HOP. That program, the initial funding round is kind of done, but we have heard that there may be some additional funding available. So if folks are interested in that, they can go to our website and get on our inquiry list. And we are able to do between $30,000 and $50,000 worth of repairs. So we can do a lot deeper repairs for folks that might need a little bit more in their homes as well. So that's really just a very quick overview of what we do, but we'd love to explore in more detail what we can do in partnership with the town, including potentially home buyer preparedness and readiness training as well. So happy to answer any questions, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for coming. So Ms. Dixon was the one that put us in touch with you. So I really appreciate that. And something that's super important to me is, you mentioned it, just generational wealth and creating this legacy of homeownership in Colmar Manor. So there are many homeowners who live here that have either passed away and left their homes to their children, or there are many seniors that live in their homes that can't afford to make repairs. So I'm super excited about the prospect of working with Habitat for Humanity. I think you all mentioned that you've done work locally. So you've done some work in, like, I think Cottage City and College Park, right?
Yes, and a lot of work in Bladensburg as well.
Oh, and in Bladensburg too, but nothing in Colmar Manor.
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, so
hopefully that will change.
yeah. So I don't know, I think we mentioned it when we met, that we have an RFP program for nonprofits. Did we mention that? Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you've received the information, definitely please consider applying for that. I think something that we definitely need in the town is a like a social services coordinator. And so I'm looking and speaking to different nonprofits to see if there's any funding that can be attached to that, to have someone that can do the outreach and help process any applications or help people fill out forms for programs like yours. So when you talk about the HOP program, did you say that it's in Prince George's County or it's in Montgomery County?
No, it's an exclusively Prince George's County based
Okay.
program that was funded through ARPA dollars originally.
Okay, so the question is how we start working with each other, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm turning it over to our council.
I've visited one of your sites and watched it, how the house been built and how you engage volunteers to participate in the program. I believe that was for the home purchase program. So for other programs that you have mentioned, do you engage volunteers from the town as well? Do you, in a way, I know you have licensed contractors working on the job.
Mhm.
Do you engage other people in town and guide them to help each other?
Yeah, that's a great question. We engage between 4,000 and 5,000 volunteers a year typically. And we can do that on our new construction or rehab build sites. That's sort of what everybody thinks of when they think of volunteering with Habitat. We do use volunteers on some of our home repair programs on things that are a little bit more volunteer friendly. So that's certainly another way that we could engage volunteers from the town. We also do community builds. So we've painted community centers before, we've done wall builds in a firehouse. So there are a lot of different creative ways that I think that we could engage volunteers from the town to help folks who are local as well.
I really appreciate your presentation. I guess I really don't have a huge question. The only question that comes to mind for me is, have you guys ever partnered with any, what can I say, nonprofits such as Volunteers of America? So I asked that reason because we have a high population of homeless people here. And I was wondering if you guys do any type of like housing, like maybe apartment living situations where they have affordable housing. Did my question make sense?
Yeah, it did. We haven't partnered with Volunteers for America before, but I'd be happy to talk to anybody and see if there's sort of a way for us to work together. In terms of rental housing, we don't build rental. We're actually not allowed by our charter to get into rental at all, but we have partnered with rental organizations on a number of different fronts. So we support housing obviously across the spectrum, but then we also are partnering on a large project in Silver Spring right now where we're co-developing 6 acres of county-owned land. And some of that will be affordable rental and some of it will be affordable home ownership. So we're able to partner with our rental nonprofits, but we don't provide any rental housing ourselves.
Thank you.
Excuse me. So what I was thinking is we could arrange some work sessions, some classes with Habitat. But I also feel like it might make sense to have like a big meet and greet. I don't know if we've done that before. And then when you talked about community painting, we're in the process of freshening up our town hall. Is that a project that we could possibly partner with you on?
Potentially, yes. Yeah, I'd be happy to chat with you more about what that might entail.
Oh. Well, and we were also talking about murals and whatnot. So, okay, awesome. So how should we continue this? Should we just figure out what type of workshops we want to host? Or should we figure out a date to host this meet and greet? How would you like to proceed? Or how have you done this with other, let's say, towns?
We're typically, I mean, fairly flexible to your needs and whatever the town is sort of interested in. I think the idea of hosting home buyer preparedness workshops or sessions, if that's something that could be helpful in the town, we would be happy to do that. So if we could offer maybe a list of different ideas that you all could choose from if you'd like. And then a meet and greet, I think certainly we'd be happy to do that. just let us know kind of what works best for you all, and we can bring, additional staff members and materials and all sorts of things.
Would your staff be able to go with us door knocking to invite residents to come to this?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm looking at February,
Okay.
if this is something that you're interested. So we'll follow up with you, and hopefully in February we can host the meet and greet. I'm super excited.
No, that sounds great. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. We're really looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you to Ms. Dixon who arranged this. All right, awesome. Thank you.
Ms. Blue.
Oh. Ms. Blue, sorry, what was the question so I can share it with everyone that's listening?
We are familiar with the program, but it's another nonprofit. So the work that we do is pretty similar type home repair work. Yep, it's just another program. Mhm. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, next I'd like to invite Albert Arevalo with Defensores de la Cuenca. So if you could turn your video on and turn your sound or unmute, that would be great.
Bear with me, I'm also having technical difficulties. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes, okay, good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Albert Arevalo. Apologies for not being able to join you all in person, but I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all virtually. My name is Albert Arevalo, as I mentioned. I am a program assistant. I'm a new staff member for Defensores de la Cuenca. It's a Prince George's initiative that is dedicated to re-engaging and reconnecting individuals to nature, particularly the Latinx community. A couple of programs that I would like to share some information about, and hopefully there's some interest from the community and the town to see if there's any capacity for, potentially individuals who might want to participate in these programs. One is the Embajadores program, which is an ambassador program. It's an ambassador program that is intended for trees. So it's an urban tree ambassador program that's intended for Spanish speakers to go through workforce program, learn about the capacity, the needs, the best practices for trees. The second one is called La Academia, which is the academy. It's also intended to be focused on a watershed holistic approach on protection and conservation. And just as a little side note, watershed, and this is something that I had to remind myself what it means. Watershed means it's just all bodies of land that feed into one common body of water. So for us, it could be the Anacostia River, the Potomac River, or the Chesapeake Bay. And a lot of the actions that we do locally can affect some of our shared resources, which is the Chesapeake Bay. Aside from the programs that I do want to share, that I shared about, I also want to share about an initiative that Defensores is also a part of, which is an initiative that actually Senator Van Hollen is spearheading with Congressman Sarbanes. It's an opportunity to develop a new national recreation area called the Chesapeake National Recreation Area. It would encompass different bodies of land throughout the Chesapeake Bay. There is a common period open where individuals in Maryland, in the town, of course, in Virginia and Delaware, and of course in the District of Columbia, can provide comments and feedback about this proposed legislation to create a new recreation area that would protect the land portion of the Chesapeake Bay. I have more information to share, but I'd love to hear some of the questions you may have. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. So you mentioned La Academia and then another program. And I believe when I spoke to Abel, he mentioned that these are that participants receive a stipend. Can you go into more detail about those two programs?
Correct. So both programs, La Academia, which is the academy, and the Embajadores, which is the ambassadors program, both provide a stipend. Understandably, the funders, which is the Chesapeake Bay Foundation and the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, are offering grants for participants who dedicate time for these opportunities. A lot of these opportunities are intended to be after hours. So if there is any conflict where an individual may not be able to attend because they're fearful of losing wages because if they miss work, or supplemental income that they can gain from this opportunity, that those are intended for those particular individuals. La Academia is geared for individuals, adults in the area, in the Anacostia watershed, who are interested in, doing some more hands-on restoration work within the county. And that runs for the spring and summer of 2023. We have our intake form that will be shared soon. Once that intake form is live, we'll have it up on our website. You're welcome to look for our website. If not, you're welcome to follow up with me personally. I'd be happy to share my email with the town, and people can be more than happy to follow up with me. And same with the Academia and the Embajadores. Two programs do offer stipends for participants to engage in the program, but also be compensated for their time.
I think for the academy, it's 6,000, and for the ambassadors, it's 4,000.
Correct.
And it's for like a 1-year period or a commitment of a year? Or is it?
Let's see. The La Academia is for a couple of months. I think it runs from spring to summer of 2023. And the Embajadores, which is the ambassador, is a longer commitment, which typically takes about a year. And then there is some training involved, and then there is some requirements that need to be involved. Separate from that, if folks are interested in sharing information about that, and I'll be happy to share my email, and I can follow up with more information about timelines, about events that you might need to be going to, whether they are virtual events or in-person events. But separate to that, if any individuals, including the town, are interested in hosting a site for tree planting, that's something that we're definitely interested in, pursuing if there's any kind of options for that. Of course, having, capacity as a homeowner. Personally, I'm a homeowner here in Prince George's County. Having this opportunity to, revitalize some of these spaces that are just, bare, and just kind of repurposing them for something larger, and, doing my own conservation work in my own backyard as well. So if anybody is interested, I'd be happy to share my email, like I mentioned, and please follow up with me.
Are those programs like pilot programs? Have you done this before, or is this the first time?
So let's see. What has, the Academia is in its second year, and then the Embajadores is, I believe it's a first year program that it is piloted. But I can check back on that. So there is some success that we have established because we were able to kind of continue on the funding to pursue these new ventures. With La Academia, we're doing work here in the Prince George's Anacostia watershed. And then there is a second component of La Academia, which is up in Patapsco in the Baltimore City area.
And is this only for Spanish speakers, or is it open to anyone?
Ideally, Spanish speakers. Understandably, we want to serve communities that are typically underserved and underrepresented. Personally, I use a barometer called Green 2.0. It's a national survey that was done by a nonprofit to kind of gauge the diversity of opportunities in environmental, careers, workforce. And similar to the glass ceiling, there is a green ceiling for a lot of individuals of colors. So this opportunity is intended to work exclusively with Spanish speakers to kind of help break or at least start making some cracks in the green ceiling.
Any questions?
The only question I had, I'm not sure if you said this, I might have missed it, but what is the age range for the participation in these programs?
I don't have an age range with me at the time, but I'd be more than happy to follow up with you. And everybody, of course.
So similar to what I told our previous guest with Habitat for Humanity, it would be great to again have a meet and greet to promote those two programs. And if you have anyone from your staff that's available to go door knocking, I think this is a great opportunity to connect people where they're at to the resources that are available to them. So if this is something that we can work out, I'm super excited to start working with you and help promote these programs. We have a newsletter, so I'm happy to put this in the newsletter. And we're actually having a cleanup this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1. So you're welcome to join us and bring flyers if you want to give more information about this. But anything that you have on those programs, just email them to us so we can have them available to give to the town residents.
I'd be more than happy to.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming tonight and for explaining those programs and what Defensores de la Cuenca does.
Thanks for your time.
Awesome. Great. I'm gonna just ask resident and public comments to go ahead, and then I'll use my report out to talk about past and upcoming events. So I'd like to open the space for resident and public comments. Just come up to the mic, your name, where you live. If you're on Zoom, just raise your hand.
Name's Keith Brooks. I live 3600 block 41st Avenue. And I had a question. On the last meeting, there was a RFP for legal counsel. That's still in the process right now? Okay. When do you expect to have an ETA on that?
We have interviews scheduled this week. They narrowed the candidates down. Excuse me. They narrowed the candidates down. We have interviews this week, and the goal is to have it by the first meeting in February.
Okay, perfect. Second question is for Chief. I was looking at the police report from December 2022 and November 2022. And there was a 900% increase in premise checks and then a 400% increase in the property alarm commercials. Is that typical for December?
The premise checks, I will look at and get back with you. On the property alarms, I know there was one malfunctioning alarm in town, so we had a number of calls to one property. We'll see in here that there were 2 commercial burglaries. I know that the alarm was related to one of those. But the big increase in the alarms was that we have hopefully it's been fixed by now, but for several days we had a ongoing malfunctioning alarm.
Gotcha. Now is our residents, or this is a commercial property, right? For the malfunctioning, or is it a residential?
Some residents do have burglar alarms, and then we have commercial alarms as well. Sometimes they're differentiated on when it's dispatched. I'm not sure if it is on here or not. But.
Okay. And then the last question was, I saw that there was a 35% drop in traffic stops. Is that typical for December to go from November was like 42, December was 27.
I'm going to say it was probably more average in this, in December. In the higher rate in November may have been, we had a new officer on and they do a lot of traffic stops. It's also required when they come on, they have to do 50 stops to be able to issue citations through the computer. If you don't do the 50, you got to do it by hand. So they do 50 stops. And it's not necessarily that citations are being issued. They do have to do 50 stops and have to issue. It can be a warning or a safety equipment require, or it could be a citation too.
Okay, but more than likely a new officer trying to get experience with the practice. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it is all.
So actually, Chief Stone, I saw Officer Kelly stop a couple people. And it made me very nervous because I'm driving around with like one of my lights is out. So I'm always afraid to drive by the Colmar Manor police because I'm like, oh, they're gonna stop me. But yeah.
Good evening. Deborah Williams, the 4200 block of Newark Road. Happy New Year to everyone. And I also wanted to say thank you for the street light that was finally put up after almost 2 years. And that's a blessing. Yeah, it's been a long time. But I also want to say that the light does not extend down as far as the hopes would be, because there's still a major dark area that extends right in front of my home area where people hang out. They tend to hang out when they do, and they do some, they can, it can be a little bit egregious. So there is hope that some adjustment can be made to that light, that lamp post, or the other one, or another one be put up. It's very dark over there, and we need to have some light shown in that area. So I just wanted to thank you, but I also wanted to let you know what was going on. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. I think credit is to be given to Chief Stone for that, no?
No, I'd say I know Ms. Williams indicates 2 years. I think I got involved in it about 1.5 years ago, which is still too long, through Neighborhood Watch. And it's quite a long process working with Pepco and their engineers. I see it as a layman saying, it's a street light, how difficult can this be? But they have the engineers involved and estimates and pricing, and so it's done. I did look at that 100 block of Newark, and incidentally, we had 5 installed in town. We had 2 in the 4200 block of Newark Road, 1 in the 3600 block of 42nd, just around the corner, and 2 on Kearney, which is a cul-de-sac. There was 1 removed and 2 put up. And I agree with Ms. Williams on that's a dark area down there. I see a tree that's in the way, and I don't know if we're going to cut down a tree to make more light, but we can look at it some more.
Good evening. I am Doug Bowles, a resident of Colmar Manor for 13 years, and I live in the 3600 block of 41st Avenue. So I come here tonight in a spirit of gratitude to say thank you. And I'm getting calls and why? So I wanted to share what I shared with the council, so that what I said in this letter is the true and whole and only reason for my resignation, and it is meant with full sincerity. I said that it was with a somewhat heavy heart, but with a clear resolve, that I had written to resign my position as the former Colmar Manor Ward 3 Council representative, and that my resignation is for reasons of health concerns and challenges, which had arisen since my initial COVID-19 infection in June. It was a pretty serious initial infection, and it turned into long COVID, and continues to this day to present me with a good deal of physical challenge, which some days goes completely away and some days feels like I've got someone inside my head hitting me with a hammer. I represent a lot of people who came through this COVID period with it left me unable to regain my full strength and my health balance. I worked several jobs in addition to being on the council, and it became too much. The town of Colmar Manor and the citizens and residents of Ward 3 deserve a representative with the full capacity to serve their needs and to be present in all ways. It has been the honor of my life to be elected by Ward 3 and to do my best to serve and to respond to the concerns of the members of the ward and the residents of Colmar Manor as a whole. The greatest gift of my time in this service has been the forging of many wonderful and fulfilling relationships with neighbors across all 4 wards, and the chance to forge relationships with elected officials and serve organizations throughout Prince George's County, as well as at the state level. For these relationships, the guidance these good people have offered, and the depth of learning and growth I have experienced, I am sincerely and deeply grateful. I am also deeply grateful to have been able to have been some part of making positive change in the town and to have had the opportunity to be a listening ear, sometime comforter, and often helpmate to those who have reached out. I will indeed count this public service among the most meaningful parts of my life and career. I regret that it was as short as it was, but it was the length it needed to be in my life, and the time came to walk away in order to better care for myself. There is much good work going on in our town and throughout Prince George's County and the state. While there is still much to do, I have faith that our mayor, our council and staff will continue serving the town and moving it forward in wonderful ways. And I am certainly happy to assist to whatever ability I have. The Garden Club has already reached out, but I'm not quite ready to crawl in the dirt yet. So I want to say to each of you that I served with, to our mayor, to our town administrator, our chief, and Mr. Baden, who is online, it was an honor to serve with you. I am grateful for all of the advice, the friendship, and the collegiality, and I look forward to seeing what you all do with and for our town going forward. And thank you.
Anybody want to add? We kind of did it at the work session, but anybody want to say anything or respond?
Repeating myself, I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but former council member Bowles, it was a great honor serving with you. I've learned so much from you within the past 2.5 years of service. You've inspired me a great deal to learn my history, which means a lot and should say a lot about your character. Overall, the opportunity to meet you was one of the most humbling things that I got to experience within my first year, because I didn't know I would resonate with your experiences so much. You know, just build that type of connection. So I really appreciate everything that you've done for Colmar Manor and what you'll continue to do.
Former council member Bowles, you'll be very missed. You also inspired me to prepare for each session, dig deeper into researching every issue. I was inspired how you connected to residents through various avenues, where the walks, and how people feel how easy it is to talk to you and to reach out, to call you. They probably called you more than they called us, definitely than they called me. I think you just were able to extend yourself to them with in your friendship and in your service to the community. Thank you for your service.
Councilmember Ward 3, Doug Bowles, I just want to thank you for your leadership and your service. You will be missed. You did so much, not only in Ward 3, but throughout Colmar Manor. And I pray for your health and for all your future endeavors ahead. Thanks, Doug.
So, Mr. Bowles, I've said this to you privately, but I'll say it publicly. I really credit Mr. Bowles for my personal growth. When I saw the message that you were resigning, I texted you, I think, that it broke my heart, and it really did. I was very upset and I was very sad. Um, I do still hope that you will remain involved, because you do have a lot to give to the town. You've already given so much, especially when it comes to LGBTQ. Um, that was a source of pride for me. Whenever people came up to me and talked to me about our town and our council, they they were in awe of how diverse we were. And I really love that we've been able to celebrate all different types of people in our community. So I just want to thank you for inspiring me and for really helping me with my personal growth. And I also wish you luck with your health, and I hope that it does get better. So thank you for everything that you've done for the town, but I'm sure that you'll continue working for the town in some way. Anybody else, anyone online want to say anything?
Can you hear me? I'm on Zoom. Sorry, I raised my hand. I just wanted to say thank you so much to Councilmember Doug. I wanted to say how much of an amazing representation he's been of our Ward 3, since being able to actually have conversation with him in person, how knowledgeable he is, how patient and understanding, and he never presented himself as above anyone. He always listened to the concerns of the residents and of the citizens of this town, and just how much knowledge that he has and much knowledge that he brought and was so willing to give to us, to do his best to help us in any way that he could. I just want to say thank you so much, Councilmember Doug, and that you're so greatly appreciated, and so praying for your health and your well-being, and that any endeavors that you continue to expound upon, and that everything that you do just continues to be great, and that nothing but positivity and love is brought into your life. And I just want to say thank you and how much you appreciate it.
I was trying to get up here. I didn't know anybody you were gonna extend this online, but it only made sense. But I just wanted to say thank you, Doug. I appreciate you so greatly, because out of this constituency, or, whatever you want to call it, we became and friendships, you can't buy that. That's something that a friendship will go past all of this. And I can see you on the street, and I love him and Louis, and just how I've been blessed. And I do pray for your healing in your wholeness in mind, body, soul, and spirit. I only want the best for you. So this is heartfelt and heart heavy for me, because you have been so responsive. If you called him up, he's right there. And if he says he's going to do something, he would do it. And so I can't be upset with that. And I just want to thank you. And I just want it to be put on record how much I appreciate what you've done for me in the time that I've gotten to know you. So although you're not going to be on the council, you're still going to be my friend. Thank you.
Doug's show, and I really didn't think that it was going to go this far. I just wanted to say thank you. And I sincerely mean that. And this has been very difficult for me. This was not an easy decision. It was not. My deepest concern was that I would be viewed as a quitter, and I'm not that, but I simply couldn't continue with my own health the way that it was and do what I'm doing. So that's love. This is love. I love you. I love Colmar Manor, and I'm going to get the heck out of this room now so that I can go home and hug my dog. This has turned into a drama. Good. Not Dan. Dan, please don't cuss me out in public, please.
Well, I do have to say a few things while you're standing there. I think most of it's already been said, but I've enjoyed working with you as well. You've never been one to hold back on your thoughts or your feelings. And, we've had many conversations, evenings, weekends, where we shared that time. And, I appreciate it. A lot of council members will hide their feelings and, talk behind your back or something like that. And you're one that, is a true leader in your position as a council member. And, it seems like it's been longer than 2 years, but I know it
I know what
hasn't.
you're saying.
And I know council members always say, I'll never come back, but you might be one that will, and I look forward to that. So I wish you the best of luck with your health, and I'm sure we'll be staying in touch and getting together sometime in the future. So best wishes for you and your family.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Love you, Doug.
Are there any other comments from anyone who's here or anyone on Zoom? Okay. So actually, I'm gonna go back to the past and upcoming events that was on the agenda. So I just want to thank, again, just thank Foundation of Greatness, Chief Stone, Delegate Fennell, Greg Holcomb's mom, Mr. Lusk, for everything that they did for our Christmas event and all the toys that we were able to purchase. And so we thought that maybe the kids would only be able to get one toy, and they ended up being able to get maybe 2 or 3. So just thank you so much. I thought it was a really nice event. Thank you to Councilmember Hobbs for being there during the whole hot chocolate fiasco. Jesus. But thank you for being there. And then also the Festival of Lights at Watkins. Always thank you to Ms. Vivian. And obviously thank you to Mr. Wells for driving the van. It was a really nice time, and I hope that we can do more things like that. Now that we have those 2 buses, we might as well put them to even further use. We had a New Year's Eve party here. I couldn't be here because I had COVID, but a couple, I think maybe like 2 people showed up for the event. It was a pilot. We wanted to see what it would be like to have something like this. But if anyone has ideas of things that they want to see, again, events, please let us know. We're always up for trying new things. If you looked at the newsletter, there are some events that are coming up. So this Saturday, we're going to be hosting a town cleanup from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as part of the MLK National Day of Service. So we'll be going around town picking up garbage. During that same time and on that day from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., we're going to have an open house. So we are inviting all the committees to come have a table here. We have lots of hot cocoa. Just come and let's try to recruit more neighbors to be a part of these committees. So this is the opportunity to meet other people and get them more involved in what we're doing in our town. So that's one event. We also will be having ESOL classes. We're teaming up with Cottage City. So we're looking at possibly starting those English classes in February. Those will be hosted via Zoom. I'm looking at the possibility of having a conversation club as well. And I believe that Foundation of Greatness, when they do their report out, they're also looking at other events or projects that they want to have for residents in the town. Also, if you take a look at in February, we're also having a Black History Month performance here. Harriet Tubman, a play, a 1-person play on Harriet Tubman will be here. please keep an eye out for more information about that, also in collaboration with Cottage City. And then in the newsletter, there are a couple of boards and commissions that we're looking to fill. So we're looking at the Ethics Commission, we're looking at the Board of Election Supervisors, and then the Tree Committee. I'm not going to describe each one of them. We'll go ahead and post the newsletter online. We'll have printed copies here at the town hall. If any of those sound interesting to you, please let us know and become more active in our community. I think that's it in regards to upcoming events and past events, unless I missed anything.
So business network event that is planned for the 24th of January. It will be a breakfast. So look out for that information in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Okay, so next up, we have the committee and community group report outs. So it says here, Board of Electoral Supervisors. Okay, great, thank you.
All right, at the the town work session, the council reappointed the Board of Electoral Supervisors. The supervisors met today to go over the special election that's needed to fill Councilmember Bowles' vacancy. There were some potential concerns over how our charter outlines the dates and deadlines for things. And so the board had to meet to solidify the dates and the deadlines for a variety of things. One being, so with the resignation was as of January 1st. As I mentioned, they had 10 days to meet. They met today within those 10 days to solicit for nomination petitions, which did happen. So the motion was made and passed that the petition process is officially open. Residents can contact Town Hall to get the petition and the information packet regarding that. That is only for Ward 3 residents. Yes, and people that are qualified to vote or to actually register, which is age of 21, live in the ward for the prior 30 days prior to the election, and be a resident of the town for 1 year. And all the details of that are in that packet. And you can give me a call at Town Hall as well to ask if, clarification if you need anything. The voter registration deadline would end 30 days prior to the election, which is January 18th. This includes both the county registration and also the supplemental voter registry in town. The deadline for filing for candidacy is February 10th. You have 5 p.m. on February 10th is the deadline. And then the board of election supervisors will meet that day to make the official candidate list and certify that to make it public. Because of the closeness of the deadline to the election day per charter, there wasn't a lot of room for absentee ballot voting, and we wanted to make sure that we had a little extra room in there. So the election day is going to be February 17th, which is a Friday, from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m.
So what time?
8 p.m.
A question, why 10 a.m. you mentioned? Not typically it's 7 or 8 a.m.
So that's what one of the issues was. I've been told that your elections are from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. That's how they've been held. The charter says 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. But historically, that's not what has happened. So the precedent has not been to do that. And so the board voted to hold it from 10 until 8 p.m.
Isn't the charter like presides over the law of our town?
So the section 506 special elections states that they should be conducted by the Board of Election Supervisors in the same manner and with the same personnel as far as practicable as regular town elections. So as far as practicable, they can modify it a little bit. And so that's what they've been doing. So in previous elections, in regular elections, this is not what they have not followed the charter for that. And for the special election, they chose to modify that because of a variety of reasons.
So it means, does the amount of time that residents will have time to cast a vote is shorter than otherwise would be as per our charter?
Per the charter, but not other elections. They're following the precedent of other elections.
But it will be a small amount of time. to cast a
Same
vote.
amount of time that you
So
were
from
elected
10
and
to
the mayor
10
was,
PM?
no, 10 to 8.
And before, and so the per charter is 7 AM to 8 PM.
Correct. And anyone can request an absentee ballot, which can be requested immediately. Those would be available now, but they won't be able to be issued until the board certifies the candidates, which is on February 10th. And we'll be hand delivering those in town, mailing if you're out of town, but hand delivering them in town.
And the past election that we had for mayor, was it from also from 10 AM?
Yeah, I'll chime in, 'cause I've been around a long time. As long as I can remember, it's been, town elections have been 10 AM to 8 PM. And that's those that I've been involved with of at least the last 20 years. But now the federal, like the county elections and all those are 7 AM to 8 PM. But our town election has been 10 to 8 for a long time.
The mayoral elections that we had in May, were they from 7 AM or from 10 AM?
10 AM.
10 AM. Council, do you have any input? Just, the charter, it's from states from 7 AM. I just wonder why we're doing it differently, or we have to change the charter. I mean, I heard the word precedent.
So
I understand.
the other issue is it also says in one section that it has to be within 45 days. And then another section, it says it has to be at 45 days. So it's in conflict. 45 days would eliminate any potential absentee voting. So there would be a complete disenfranchisement of anyone that would be absentee.
So this is something.
So that's where the Board of Elections, they control the election process. And they've opted to do that, to change the time and the date to adjust for
I
that.
think this is something we need to keep in mind when we review our charter, so we can make it uniform. And if we have to change the time, then we should do that and correct that.
So we have the Green Team, Rec Team, Garden Club, Hispanic Outreach, Foundation of Greatness. Anyone from the Green Team? Or any updates from the Green Team?
I have not received any update.
The Recreation Committee?
Sorry. Recreation, is Vivian on? No? Oh, okay.
Good evening, Deborah Williams on behalf of Ms. Blue. She just asked me if I would please assist, and I kindly am doing that. Accordingly, the next night watch meeting will be held Thursday, January 26th, 2023 at the Town Hall at 7 PM. And the topics will be ward block captains. And she says she looks forward to seeing everyone and new faces. Thank you.
So just for the Recreation Committee, they're going to have a meeting this coming Thursday, the 12th at 6 PM here at the Town Hall.
Garden Club?
Updates on the garden club. Miss Teresa couldn't be here tonight. We did send out a memo that the garden plots are available now for registration to use the plots. There's plans to upgrade the garden once we have finances available through the ARCA funds. So at that time, we'll probably be asking for volunteers to help us spread the filter cloth and the wood chips. But right now, the plots are ready to be rented out. $20, go online to apply. The second thing is that we'll have our meeting this Saturday from 10 to 12. It'll be virtual. And in that meeting, we'll be reviewing our charter bylaws and ordinances. So if you haven't had a chance to look at them, go online, pull them up, and we're going to be reviewing them. Thank you.
Thank you.
So no one's here from the Hispanic Outreach Committee, but I have spoken to a representative. So just as an FYI, for this week, and I think the deadline you said was the 18th of January, they're going out and they're registering voters. So if there are people in Ward 3 that would like to register to vote, they're going out and they're actually starting to register people to vote. Feel free to come to the town hall. If you want to be on the supplemental list, you need to be 18 years of age in order to be able to vote, have lived in the town for 6 months, and have a photo ID with your name and the address of your home in Colmar Manor. So we also have registration forms here. We have some on the table. Feel free to hand them out to your neighbors. And it's not just only for Ward 3, it's anyone that wants to register to vote, but there is a special election that's coming up. And so we're definitely encouraging people to register to vote. Foundation of Greatness. Foundation of Greatness, going once. I'll message, sorry, if you come back on, yeah, we'll come back to you. Great, okay, so I'll go ahead and give my report out. So yes, as you all know, Mr. Bowles resigned on the 1st of January, and there's going to be a special election. We want to make sure that everyone who is eligible and can vote, that they come out and they vote. I also mentioned at our last work session that budgeting is something that I want everyone's involvement in. So at our last work session, we invited all the leads for the committees and the work groups to come meet, and I asked them to start thinking about what projects and what needs they have that we can try to fit into the budget. We can't guarantee that everyone will get money allocated to them, but we can definitely work towards that. And it's not only relegated to the committees and the work group leaders, residents. If you're interested and there are projects or things that you want to see, I want you to be involved in this budgeting process as well. So I'm looking to possibly host a budgeting meeting where we'll only talk about the budget, possibly in February. And I'm asking all the committee leaders and work group leaders to submit their budget items by the 1st of March. But actually, if you can get it sooner, that's even better. And the council and myself will be working on this budget, and I'll submit something in April, and then I believe in June is when we approve the budget for FY24. So again, please think through, if you'd like a copy of our budget, just call the town hall and we can get a copy of that to you. And obviously the treasurer will go over our treasurer's report. And if you have any questions about anything in regards to how we're spending our money, definitely feel free to call and ask. I'd also, at this point, like to ask, so Doug Bowles was actually my mayor pro tem. And so now I have to ask someone else to be the mayor pro tem, and ask, do I need to have people vote on this, or should we just do it? Or I think we voted when I assigned Doug as the mayor pro tem. All right. So, Miss Mendoza, I'll give you the reasoning as to why I asked Doug Bowles to be the mayor pro tem. As I mentioned to you, Doug played a very, very special part in my deciding to become involved. And he was part of my professional growth. And I needed someone like him to balance me out because I'm an ideas person and my head is always in the clouds. He's a person that's grounded. And so I need that type of energy to kind of ground me. So I appreciate people like Doug, and I appreciate people like Irina that are always asking the hard questions. I feel like, Malik, you're a dreamer like I am. So this is why I asked Doug to be my mayor pro tem. So now I'm asking if you will be my mayor pro tem.
I'd be honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Not like you haven't done the job before. So awesome. So I would like to request a vote on this. So Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3 vacant. And I don't think, can you vote on yourself? Ward 4. Okay, Mayor votes aye. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
It's a, oh, it's an appointment? Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
No, thank you.
Great. So I talked about upcoming events, but I also really wanted to talk about some of the projects that I am passionate about and want to work on. I've been talking about these neighbor circles, and it kind of came to my head that in addition to neighbor circles, I really want to have Colmar Manor story sharing circles. So when I meet people like Ms. Vivian, Ms. Doretha, all of these local leaders that have been here forever, they always share these interesting stories with me. And I feel like we need to start capturing all these stories. And so I'm hoping to have these sharing circles where we talk about, for example, the Black experience in Colmar Manor. I've heard so many stories about what it was like moving into the neighborhood and being the first Black family to live here. And I feel like it's very important to talk about that history, to know where we've been and now where we are, and kind of how we've come to be here and how we've really improved and strengthened our community. I also want to talk with Mr. Lusk, who is a wealth of knowledge on the history of the area. I'm just interested in learning more and sharing the story of how the Port Towns Shopping Center came to be. We also have a huge Filipino community. I'm super impressed with it and how they've been having for 20 plus years amazing events in our town. And so I'd really love to have the Filipino community share their story. And it's kind of like the Kojo Namdi show where he asks all these different questions. I'm envisioning this being that. So I also would love to invite Delegate Fennell and invite Mr. Baden to talk about Colmar Manor's Town Hall. So why did we erect this town hall? What was the vision then? And what's the vision for the future? I want to talk about the Hispanic experience in Colmar Manor. And then I want to invite our spiritual leaders in the community, new and old, to really share their stories. We have a lot of different churches and some new churches in town. And I think all of this story sharing is important to build our community and to have everyone kind of understand how this community has come to be. So if you'd like to get a copy of my proposal, I'm happy to share it with you. So that's one project that I'm looking to work on. The other is an idea that I came up with. I realized that it would really help us discuss things if we knew what we were talking about in advance. So I have some ideas where our meetings can have focus points and themes. So for what I mean by this is maybe one public town hall meeting can talk about community development. So for example, the proposed gas station or support for homeowners, our vision for community development in Colmar Manor. So dedicating a part of this meeting to those important discussions. Another meeting can focus on trash collection, town cleanliness, stormwater management. Another can talk about what our philosophy is when it comes to policing in our community. So talking about public safety, code enforcement, having a robust conversation. So for example, sometimes people will see the patrol cars running outside. Why? Or sometimes people will come up to me and say, are the police in the shopping center just sitting there? Well, there are reasons for all of this. And I think this is the place to really talk about that and ask questions and understand why things are happening the way they are. I appreciate Ms. Williams coming up because one of the discussions I'd like to have revolves around lighting. So really talking about lighting and again, offering residents an opportunity to know what we'll be talking about in advance and then having them come and just talk about their issues and possibly problem solve with them. So I'll also share this. It's my proposal for Colmar Manor Town Hall meeting topics. Then I am actually going to be sending around a letter to all the local mayors to garner their support against the gas station development. So I have a copy of this letter and I'm happy to share it with everyone. I'm going to start sending it to the Port Town mayors to begin with, and then we'll branch out to local community groups and whatnot. So we can show a united front against the gas station development in the town of Colmar Manor. And then, as I mentioned, I suffered from COVID around New Year's. And what I thought was just a cold that my husband had ended up being COVID. So he had it and he gave it to me. So this is just a reminder that if you have a tickle in your throat, if you have a runny nose, please get tested as soon as you kind of get those symptoms and monitor yourself. Make sure to stay home. Let's not pass this on to other people. And when possible, if you get sick, just put a mask on, and also don't forget to go and get vaccinated. Luckily, I was able to go to the Methodist Church in Hyattsville that has the PCR testing still available. You just drive through, they test you, and you get your results in less than 24 hours. So that really helped me, but it knocked me out for a couple of days. It got a little scary, but this is just a reminder. Please, please, please be careful and take care of your neighbors if you see that they are suffering from this as well. And as you could all tell, Mr. Bowles is suffering from long COVID. So let's just let's help and care for one another. So that's it in regards to my mayor report. So now I'll hand it back over to our town administrator for the approval of the minutes. Oh, should I just do it? Okay. So in your packet, you should have the minutes for November 15th, 2022. And do they also have the minutes for the 2nd and 9th of November 2021? So I would like to request a motion to approve those council meeting minutes.
Can you hear me? No. Just to clarify, so these were the minutes that were like delayed, now they've been delivered. Okay.
Correct. This is the backlog that we're slowly
Yes.
working through. Yes.
Yeah. I saw my name and then I was like, wow, why did I do this? Like the Harvest Fest. I'm like, really? When? And I realized it was 2021. I'm happy to see that we are reducing the backlog. And I will introduce a motion to accept all three meeting minutes for all the 3 dates that were specified.
Councilmember Harding, I'll second that motion.
Word 1.
I'm sorry. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
I,
Ward 3 is vacant, Ward 4,
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
okay.
Sorry, I was sending my husband an angry text. Awesome, thank you. So the next is council reports. So I'll turn it over to council members.
Councilmember Harding, Ward 1. Happy New Year, everyone. I want to start there. I know I don't sound too happy. It's after work voice. I really want to start with saying Happy New Year. I hope everyone's having a great beginning to the new year. I'm hoping that everything becomes better and progressively you go towards the goals that you've set for yourself this year. As the mayor said, we're moving towards a community vision, and you're going to hear that reiterated a lot. We're going to be doing a lot of collaborative measures to get ideas from everyone within the town. And I believe like this last stretch is important for us to see an outcome that we all want to see. I'm going to reiterate the Saturday cleanup. Please come out from 10 to 1. I don't know if we're going to have some snacks. I'm going to put that on the mayor. We should have some snacks. Okay. And lastly, this is something I want to do. It's a conversation that we've been having since the beginning of December. I want us to get a little creative around Black History Month. I've been saying a lot of things against things to do, but I haven't really brought any solutions. And right now I have a small one where I think we could use our newsletter for something interesting. So we could use our newsletter to highlight Black history we may have found in Prince George's County or just relative to here, local prominence in Maryland. So I plan to start it February 1st with speaking on Margaret Adams. This was a woman that owned an inn, I believe in Bladensburg, one of the first Black owners inside of Bladensburg. And yeah, just give you guys like a little spiel on that, but definitely I want to push this out to the community to use this as a think piece, 1, 2, an opportunity to, shine. I feel like if you bring in the information or email me information, we could put right under it who it came from. And now your neighbor or something like that. But it's just, I want us to get more creative with what we do to honor and educate people. And with that being said, that's not just going to stay inside of February for me. I plan to do it all throughout the year. And yeah, that's my piece on Ward 1.
I think that sounds like a great idea. I'm always looking for help with the newsletter. Like we need help with the newsletter. So not only distributing it, because I like for it to go door to door, but then having content that goes in it. So anything that you want to add, poetry, anything that that can be placed in the newsletter, I think is a great idea. The newsletter is also a tool to inform and build community. So I'm definitely, in agreement with you on that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hello? It's on, right? Yes, okay. Happy New Year to everybody. It did not start happy for me and some of my residents who complained about noise ordinance being violated. So there are some perpetual violators in our community who, even regardless of of calls to the police, or the county or local police, they continue to have loud parties that spill out outside of the premises of their home. So last time during the work session, I asked our chief of police to institute a system of warnings that will be given to the perpetual violators. Specifically, the first warning is a verbal warning. The second warning will be a written warning with the signature requested, the signature of the violators requested to sign the piece of paper. And the third warning will be a fine. The fines are prescribed in our noise ordinance, and I believe this is a high time to start enforcing the law of the town that we passed Additionally, there were a few other issues that were brought to my attention by my residents and my constituents. The continuous dog barking issue. So if the dog is barking, it's probably a sign that the dog is not happy about something, who's been triggered by something. I appreciate, I had to make a phone call to our county police because our police, it was beyond their hours. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why, but those calls are not always responded to. And therefore we have to rely on our police. And I think we'd like to thank Chief for stopping by and speaking to the owner of the house about the distressed dog. It may be possible that the dog just moved to the new location and was not happy either about some triggers or just being outside, simply left outside if it was used to live inside, being an inside home. Another issue was brought up to my constituents is a cat issue, that stray cat issue that happens at the block of 40th Avenue and Lawrence Street. So there are visible signs of cats, of pets and litter, and there are lots of numerous multiple litters that are living within the premises of the household. And they've been sheltered there, which is fine, but people who feed the cats, they leave cans, the cat food cans, outside of the front door, the front porch. And that creates a nuisance that attracts wildlife, attracts rodents. And those two residents that did inform me that they have seen wildlife coming out and around. Also, it is visually just unpleasant to look at that house, because it's just, they create shelter for it, which is a humane thing to do for cats. And it's okay to have stray cats in the county. However, the county ordinance states that if the stray cats create a nuisance, then that's in violation. So I asked our chief of police, who's also an animal control officer, to look into the issue. And I'm hoping to receive some resolution or response, hopefully by the next council session. I'm excited to hear that we will have, there's a potential of to have an animal committee in our town. It would be great if we get residents engaged into looking after this and taking care of this issue, looking after animals. But at this point, this has to be resolved, because I was quoted 20 plus kittens living living near and in trash and hiding under cars in that particular household. So that's a problem that has to be resolved. Yes, and to add to the newsletter, I thought there was an additional section that I really appreciate on the major points discussed during previous council sessions. I think it tells residents what we've talked about, or what we voted on. It also a reminder for me as well, when I go into a council session, what we've discussed in the past, and also just a reminder how we progress. So it's good to see, to keep ourselves on track. And I appreciate Mr. Holcomb composing those notes and the newsletter. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you. The end.
All right, good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. For my ward report, I wanted to highlight there is a request from Loomis Health Doctors Community Medical Center. They're looking for Colmar Manor for support. They are looking to expand their maternal ward. So I was asking Mayor and the rest of the council if we could sign this letter. I'll read it. It's for the Dear Governor-elect Moore. I'm writing today to request your support for Loomis Health Doctors Community Medical Center and their request for $170 million in capital funding to expand access to obstetrics care for the residents of Prince George's County. The $170 million in state capital support will be combined with philanthropic and other funds as part of a larger $300 million investment in LHD CMC, providing needed updates to the facility and increasing access for the community it serves. Maternal and child health in Prince George's County continues to be a major challenge, with health disparities in maternal mortality and other key health outcomes lagging behind other jurisdictions, although nearly 500,000 people live in the northern part of the county served by LHD CMC. There are currently no obstetrical beds in the community. We as a state need to commit to addressing these historic health disparities by investing in the communities most impacted by them. This will necessitate partnering with leading healthcare organizations like LHD CMC, supporting them financially as they increase access to vital clinical services to meet the needs of the county. Thank you for your leadership on these issues and your attention to this request. So I'm just asking for you guys' help.
Exactly, 170 million. I see two numbers.
170 million. No, it's just asking for Colmar Manor support too. Because really, I mean, I had to deliver my babies outside of.
Yeah, so like,
DC
yeah, if
and
you could
into-
help me explain. So like, we really don't have any in PG County. We don't have
Yeah,
no
I mean, after,
obstetrical beds in our community.
I don't believe so.
So do you have to go outside or do they retrofit the ward? Like what happens in that case?
Go to
Do you,
Silver
like-
Spring.
Yeah, so I mean, it's, in my case, your OBGYN doctor is connected to a hospital.
Mhm.
And so my doctor was connected to Holy Cross. So I delivered my baby in Silver Spring.
Mhm.
However, there was a hospital, Providence Hospital
Mhm.
in DC, right on the border, like on, I think off South Dakota or something like that. Not too
Yeah.
far from us, and they shut down.
They shut
Oh,
down.
they
That's
shut
it.
down that. I
Yeah.
think I may have been to that.
I don't know what the closest hospital is to us.
I'm not sure if the new
Well-
one in Largo.
Well, there's one Kaiser just moved onto Agers Road. So
Yeah, I don't think that's not a hospital.
But it's not, yeah, it's
Yeah.
more like.
It's a clinic.
It's a clinic, yeah. Yeah. It's so hard to believe, yet I'm just, I'm reading this and I'm sure it's backed up by
Well, I
facts
mean,
and all, and
it's an
I'm
issue
kind of
in
shocked.
in Prince
It's like
George's County when
Kids are being born, like, how do they get? Oh, it's just only the PG, like, yeah, right.
so in Prince George's County, when I think the woman from, no, Defensores de la Cuenca talked about under-resourced communities, I would consider our community in our area under-resourced. So I'm definitely happy to sign this, but it also just brings up an important topic. We need to support mothers in the community. Well, not even just mothers, families, really.
Families. Mhm.
So I've been thinking a lot, just I mean, this is important and I'm gonna sign it and I hope that you will sign it too. But even when we think about projects that we want to take on in our community, in Colmar Manor, I was even thinking childcare, you know?
I mean, it's a perpetual issue. Like I could see it now firsthand with my sister-in-law.
Yeah, so I think we need to tackle those issues and I think that we can. So
And that's it.
thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank you.
bringing
So,
us.
so it's just a letter of support, right? So
Yeah,
Then,
just a letter of
then if like in the future.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
okay.
we'll send it after the meeting.
And where, I'm sorry, where would this be located? Do you have any?
Where would
Doctor's
the,
Hospital off,
so it's in Lanham.
Lanham, that's right.
So it's in Lanham. It's about a 20-minute drive from here.
Yeah.
It is close to the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. So like on the border of Greenbelt and Lanham. All right, thank you. So that's it for the council report. So now I'll turn it over to staff reports, please. And first up is the treasurer report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council residents. If Tracy could enable my screen sharing, I could bring a copy of the report up. There we go. For those of you who do not have a copy and those of you at home. So this is the treasurer's report for the first 6 months of the current fiscal year through through December 31st, 2022. As the mayor had said earlier, we will be, working on the budget next couple months. We try to provide the first draft of the budget by the beginning of April, and then we spend the next 2 months going through, having various meetings and hearings on the budget, and then look to approve the budget at our town meeting in June. So the format of the budget pretty much follows the treasurer's report. So as the mayor had asked for input, the items that you see here in the budget on the revenue and expenditure sides are the items that, we currently receive as income and then budget out as expenditures. Doesn't mean we can't add other accounts for other programs or things that you as the residents want us to consider. So as you're looking over the treasurer's report, I'm just going to highlight some pertinent items, but there's quite a bit here. So take some time to look at that as you're looking to provide the mayor with some input, especially the committees that she had talked about. So the first page has your revenue. You can see the different revenue sources here, the budgeted amounts for the fiscal year. Biggest source of revenues are real property taxes, $1,008,000 is what's budgeted. We've collected $682,000 year to date. These are taxes on the real property of the residents and the businesses within the town. The next largest revenue source is the income taxes, budgeted $125,000. Currently received $33,941. These are revenues that we receive throughout the year, and it's pretty typical that we've only collected about 27% at this point in the year. Picks up as we get into the beginning of 2023, and as people start filing their tax returns, after the first of the year. So at this point, we should be on target for 125,000. A lot of other revenue items here. I'm not going to touch on any of them. The one item that I am going to is the American Rescue Plan. So we did receive our second installment of that, which was $656,837 for this year. That is not a recurring revenue source. So, we have earmarked that funding for a group of specific projects that we've highlighted, over past meetings. But that is not a recurring source of income. The rest of the report summarize the expenditures, and we break them down mainly by departments. So general government expenditures are at $402,000 budgeted. This includes things like your salary, payroll taxes, benefits, convention and travel, office expenses, benefit accounts such as retirement, operating costs for running the general government operations of the town. Also within there, we have payroll tax and benefits, senior van operations, and code enforcement. You see the amounts budgeted for each of those items. Then we go into the public works. Total public works budget, $307,279. Largest portion of that are your salary accounts and your waste collection, which is contracted out of $102,000. So, a large portion of that is related to salaries and waste collection. Operation of the town hall, $230,000. $152,000 of that is payment of debt service cost. It's the equivalent of a mortgage on the town center or on the community center building. Rest of it are regular utility type costs such as cable TV, electric, gas, water, some service contracts for the HVAC systems, the elevator systems, those types of items, and then insurance on the building. So the cost of the building itself is about $230,000. Last couple items we have are the public safety, which is the police department, $454,000. Salary being one of the largest portion, that makes up the most of our police department. Then you see the other operating costs there. Community center operations, which includes a small amount of recreation supplies, holiday events, rental expense associated with the rental of the facility, and then class instructors for Zumba and a few other classes that take place at the building. Here's where we break down all of the different accounts that have already been approved for the use of the ARPA funds. Total amount budgeted this year is $1,226,000. We have spent quite a bit. So a lot of the projects are underway. There's some other projects that have the zero amounts here that still need to get moving. Some of them we've already solicited proposals for. So we got a good plan to use the funds. It does have to be expended by December 31st, 2024, or we need to have contracts for the work that's going to be done and spend that money by December of 2026. So, in pretty good shape right now on the ARPA funds. And that is the end of the report. If anyone has any questions, I will attempt to answer those.
I don't have any questions. Can you
And
come to
back,
the mic?
back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Baden. We have someone that's going to ask a question.
Julianne Bethay, 4206 Monroe Street. I have a question on the expenditures. Lobbyists, is that the person hired? When did that come about? I noticed it the last time, but what is that person doing? And
I'll let the town administrator answer that. He's got a better handle on the specifics. I comment in general, probably a little better.
I'm trying to remember when that was approved. I believe it was back in October. It's a few months ago we approved that. The lobbyist was hired, the mayor reached out, and we did put out an RFP for a lobbying firm. We had 3 companies place a bid for the lobbying. And the idea is to work on behalf of the town with the state legislature for funding, and for other potential,
How does that substitute for just notifying our delegates if we need something?
yeah, well, it's already been approved, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So I'm just gonna refer people that have questions about the lobbyist to take a look at our previous meetings. One of the reasons that we hired a lobby group specifically was to bring down the debt on this town hall, but also to get us more money. So Greenwell Consulting Group currently works with Mount Rainier. I think that they work with Cottage City, so it's a well-known reputable group. They've come to our town hall meetings and actually reported out on their work. So please refer to those videos on YouTube if you want to get more information. We will definitely reach out to them. They're probably due to come in again. They're currently in the legislative session, reaching out to our delegates, to our delegate Fennell, and they're reaching out to our state senator, the district for District 47, Mr. Augustine. So they are hard at work trying to get us more money. This is a group where their only focus is getting us the resources for the projects that we want to take on in the town. And we voted on this and we've contracted with them as of, I think it was October last year. But definitely feel free to take a look at those videos. What's up next? Okay, so a motion to, I'd like to request a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Councilmember Hart, I'll make the motion as stated.
Ward 1, oh, sorry,
Councilmember Hobbs seconded.
Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3 is vacant, Ward 4,
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. So now back on to public safety, please.
Can you hear me now? Okay, we're better. Thank you. On page 1 is a list of incidents. This is essentially a dispatch log. This is what the dispatcher sends to the officers or what they call out with. There's 125 entries, and I'll touch upon a few of those. You'll know there's 2 break-ins, and I'll get to those further in the police reports. There's a pedestrian struck. That was a very minor incident in the parking lot of the shopping center where a pedestrian in the car bumped into a pedestrian and knocked him down. It was not a serious incident at all. There was 1 sexual assault reported. I'll get into that under the police reports. On page 2 for the police reports, I'll just touch upon a few of these. We had a stolen vehicle on December 1st at the shopping center, 3600 block of Bladensburg Road. Officers took a report. It was later determined, though, that an acquaintance of the driver had taken the vehicle, so it was not actually the vehicle was not actually stolen. There were 2 burglaries, commercial burglaries reported during the month, both on December 7th during the late night hours at the McDonald's and the KFC. Someone broke through the drive-through windows. Incidents are most likely related. I don't think anything of value was stolen. I don't know why anybody breaks into a restaurant, and doesn't take anything. But theft from auto in the 3900 block of Lawrence Street. A tag was reported stolen from a vehicle. We did have a vehicle that was confirmed stolen from the 3600 block of 41st Avenue on December 15th. On the 21st, officers were called to a local hospital for a juvenile who had suffered a cutting or a serious assault. It was determined that that assault occurred in the park in the 3900 block of Newton Street. Maryland Park Police handled that. They identified a suspect who was an acquaintance of the juvenile, and that person has been arrested. The juvenile has been released from the hospital. And finally, we had a sex offense reported during the month. That's being investigated by Prince George's County Police Department, and that is the suspect is an acquaintance of the victim. Had 4 traffic accidents reported during the month, most of those relatively minor. I think all of them were relatively minor. Usually the minor accidents are not police reports not written, with exceptions of that is when there's driver's license problems and insurance problems. And I think that's why these ended up with reports being written. For traffic enforcement, 32 traffic stops with 77 violation notices. Those include citations, warnings, repair orders. For animal complaints, it's a 0 on here, and Ms. Hobbs advised 2 others, and those have occurred in January, and I'll report on those in the next report. For code enforcement, for the last several years, the town of Cottage City and Colmar Manor have shared a code enforcement officer. It's a full-time officer that does part-time in Cottage City and part-time in Colmar Manor. They resigned in December, and Cottage City has informed us that they're not going to continue with that joint program. So we are in search of a part-time code enforcement officer and hope to have one soon. If you do have any code enforcement issues, you can email us at the code email or call here at the police department, and we will try to get it resolved. And finally, on the last page, I did kind of an overview of the last 3 years of crime reported in the town of Colmar Manor. These are part 1 crimes, which are your more serious crimes, your rapes, your robberies, your burglaries, murders, stolen vehicles, all things of that nature. In 3 years ago, we had 70 reported crimes. Last year, it went up a little bit, 72. And this year, we're down significantly, down to 47. It's up in some categories, down in some categories. Most significantly, I think, are thefts from autos. 3 years ago, we had 30, and those are mostly in the shopping centers, the smash and grabs where they see something on the seat and smash the window and run. That was 30, followed by 24 last year, and down to 8, I think it is this year. Yes, 8. So that's probably one of the biggest lines that have gone down. We live in I don't know about metropolitan area, but we're close to a metropolitan area. Every day on the news, you hear citizen robberies, shootings, carjackings, airbags getting stolen from cars, catalytic converters getting stolen from cars, windows getting broken from cars. That's not on here, and we don't hear about it. We're fortunate did not have any homicides this year. We don't hear about residential burglaries. I think there's one on here from this year. That was a vacant home that property was missing from, but pretty much feel safe going to work and coming home and knowing your stuff's going to still be there. Not too far from us yesterday, ATM robberies, guns stolen from the armored car carriers. Not happening here, fortunately. But I'm not naive and say it can't happen here. It can. It could happen. Things could change in a moment. I don't know. I can't. I wish I could take some of the credit for the police department for this. The citizens, their involvement, they're calling the police, they're calling me, the officers in the shopping centers. I'm proud to say that I can go in there and they know every officer by name. And that shows their community engagement. So I don't know who to give the credit to, but continue whatever you're doing. And that's my report.
Thank you, Chief. Also, we have someone that's back, right?
I'm sorry.
We have someone that's back.
Oh, yes. Sergeant Cowling was injured a year ago, actually about a year and a couple days. He worked for a while, but the injury persisted. He had to have surgery and he came back to work yesterday. I'm hoping that the problem does not continue, but I hope he's with us for several more years.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so welcome back to Sergeant Cowling. So how many officers do we have now?
I think it's 6. It's 4 myself, 3 full-time and 2 part-time.
Okay, so we have 6 total officers. So this is also just a reminder to people, if you see something, say something, call the police. Yes, it's okay to talk to your council people, but they are not the replacement for the police. And we also need to create a record of everything that's happening. So if people call me, I'm not writing this down. However, if you call the police, there's a call log. If our police are not on duty, call the Prince George's County Police. So please just remember, if you see something, say something, call the police. If language is an issue, they have people there that can speak to you in your language. So just remember to do that, please. But thank you so much for that police report. I'd like to request a motion to accept that safety report.
I'll make a motion to accept the police report.
Councilmember Mendoza, I'll second that.
Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3 is vacant, Ward 4,
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Thank you, Chief. Okay,
You're
now on to the town administrator, please.
This is actually a really good transition. So on December 28th, I waited 2 weeks every day looking at a grants website, waiting for the decision on a grant that we applied for in October. And I am happy to announce that we were chosen as part of the Governor Hogan's, what he calls the refund police program, to get more money into community for policing and public safety. And we received an $87,500 grant for public safety around the business district. And so I sat down with the mayor and with the chief to discuss ideas of what we could do with the business district to make it more safe, and also to provide kind of a barrier between that business district and the town. And so out of looking at the information that we had, the statistics, 50% of all crime in the town happens in the business district. And most of that actually happens in the shopping center itself. And so the idea was really to focus the grant money on that business district, on trying to prevent things from happening there and spilling over into the town. Out of that, if there's funding to pay for an individual to do, or an organization to do some organizing for us, community organizing for us, to actually work with the individual businesses to find out what some of their needs are, their concerns are, what we could be doing as a community to help them both on public safety and other matters. Doing a pilot program of what the mayor had mentioned earlier with the community circles idea of the concept being almost a micro neighborhood watch, with a very similar concept of working with those specific neighbors on what is it that's issue in your specific block, and trying to build off of that into a broader town-wide initiative. It will fund cameras that will be placed in the business district with the help of and cooperation with the individual businesses that are out there. These are very high-tech cameras with facial recognition and also license plate reading. So a lot of some of the reporting that the chief just reported on, we would have been able to capture all that. The cameras have the capability of taking an individual's photograph, putting into the system and sending an alert if that person is captured on that video again. So anytime if we have someone that ends up violating a major crime, and we have that individual's image, we can put it into the system that's give us an immediate notification that something that person's back, and be able to respond to that. In addition, it will fund for speed humps at every entrance from Bladensburg Road into the town. So all the entrances can receive speed humps, a utility vehicle for cleanups and for public works. This is around the idea of doing a quarterly cleanup. As part of the grant, we stated we would do a quarterly cleanup. Cleanliness and beautification was a huge part of the public safety grant program, and so that was part of why we were asking for that. And then new neighborhood watch signs and surveillance signs to correspond with the cameras to let people know that they are being surveillanced by the actual police department and not just by the businesses in the district. Next, we have the ed tech engineering with just a quick update. The ed tech is doing the engineering for the permeable pavement project, 43rd Newark. They're expecting to be done with the next phase by mid-January, any day now, really. And they target for submission to DPIE soon. The traffic study that we funded and approved, they will be starting their work any day now as well over the next couple of weeks. So a warning to residents, if you see someone setting up equipment by the side of the road and some utility trucks in the community, and maybe even people observing traffic, that's part of the traffic study. They are actually going to be doing some physical observations of traffic and doing an inventory of town signs, signage, and speed suppression. So that will be happening over the next few weeks. Exciting for me, maybe not so much for everyone else, but the painting and flooring for the town hall that was approved is initiating in the furniture as well. So hopefully by January 20th, all three of those things will be done. As you're on your way out, if you take a peek in, if you haven't seen, we have new flooring in the main offices. The conference room will be done hopefully this weekend if the flooring comes in. Painting should start as early as next week, the beginning of next week, with the furniture arriving on the 20th. Started a very initial conversation with a company to assist with the purchasing of, or to take over, I should say, of the streetlights from Pepco. And turning them over and converting them to LED. This may alleviate some of the lighting issues that we have because these are much brighter lights. It is a very initial conversation with that. So more to come. And then after the last meeting when the residents came and spoke about the cats and the issues, and then as Councilwoman Hobbs pointed out tonight with the cats, I reached out to a local cat organization that does the capture and release. They also do medical. They actually do a therapeutic program with cats where they take cats into, I don't know exactly, but they take them into organizations to do therapy with individuals as well. And so I reached out to them to have them apply for our grant. And they actually are working with some town residents on doing catch and release individually. And so they are already working with us. So we hope to expand that program further, especially with the new group that's forming around animal safety. And I think that's, oh, and then the last thing is, the mayor's already mentioned it, but we are asking residents to help fill some volunteer roles of the tree committee, the ethics commission, and the board of election supervisors. Just FYI on the tree committee, apparently not a lot of residents know that we have one. I'm hoping to kind of roll this into the green team. They don't know that yet, but it is, it's a requirement of the Arbor Day Foundation to be a Tree City USA. And so the resolution was passed 20 plus years ago. And I've spoken to some people that were listed as members on that didn't even know that they were members on that anymore. So so we're trying to reinstitute that, and there's actually a training program that the Arbor Day Foundation does that's online. And I hope that we can kind of piggyback this onto what the Joe's Movement Emporium is doing, and then also with something like the organization that presented tonight about the tree planting. It's kind of all holistic in that. So more to come on that. But please, if you're interested, volunteer to be appointed.
Okay, so I would like to request a motion to approve unless there are questions, town administrator's report.
Please ask one. Councilmember Harding, I'll make the motion as stated.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I'll second that.
Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3 vacant, Ward 4?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye, and I just want to say how grateful I am to have a town administrator. I think that you're doing an amazing job. So I'm hoping, oh man, I didn't play the lotto tonight, but that we'll get a windfall of money so that we can keep so we can get a swimming pool and we can keep Mr. Holcomb for a long time. He's doing amazing work. And I didn't mention this before, but Chief Stone, thank you for all you do as well. Okay, so open it back up to resident and public comments, either in person or online.
Hello again, Keith Brooks, 3600 block, 41st Avenue. Over regarding the treasurer's report, I was looking at the expenses and then specifically 50/20 advertising. The July to December is 900. However, the budget was 400. First question is, what advertising does the town do and why was it over budget?
Yes, I can answer this, Dan. This is legal advertising. So any ordinance that we propose or that's even put out there, the supplemental voter registration, charter amendment resolution, all that has to be publicized before the meetings. So that's what the advertising is. So
Gotcha.
in years past, there's been many years where the only ordinance that's passed in a year is the budget. So there's been a lot more kind of
Activity.
cleanup work that's happened. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
It is not marketing. Let me, it's the differentiation between marketing and advertising.
I saw that over budget and I was like, huh, that's interesting. Then my other question was on the same treasurer's report in the American Rescue Plan. And we talked about this last time, the furniture for the town hall, we have a budget of 42,500. However, Ms. Williams had suggested there's still some light concerns. However, our budget allocation for lights on line 6365 is just 6,730. And from a safety perspective, unless there's a safety hazard in the town hall that I'm not aware of besides the shaky floor that just shook, why would there be such a gap?
Yes. So as the last meeting, we discussed this as well. The council had approved to do to only do a certain number of lights in town. And that there was a leftover amount from that was moved. However, granted, this is a decision that the council would have to make. The furniture actually came in a little over $10,000 less than what we had them approve. So I was able to negotiate and also remove some items to try to save some money. So we actually removed enough furniture to save as much as we had, more than we had moved from the lighting line before. But the council did back prior to my even coming on. So prior to August had actually only allocated funding for, or approved, what was it? The five lights. I know I'm drawing a blank with 5 lights. I think it is.
Yeah, I think as part of the art, but well, out of the neighborhood watch came a need for 5 lights. Then ARPA came, well, let's double that, made a little bit more. I think I put in for 11 and then it was reduced back down to 5.
So yeah.
Okay, so from feedback from the neighborhood watch is how we got to a certain amount. Of
the
lights.
initial 5, and then the addition, then the
ARPA.
chief added more to that.
Yeah, the initial 5, and just going around town, I think it looks like we're at lights at every other pole, and there's some dark spots and there's some really light spots too. You can get a suntan on some of the corners at night, I think, but most not. Yeah, so we find a place for the remaining 6, but it was reduced back down to 5.
Okay, thank you. And then last couple. So with the lobbyists, fully understand that it's Greenville, and remember when they came by for the special session that we had, what metric and what milestones have we put in place to track their performance?
I mean, the metrics is them getting us money.
Are there certain milestones and how much they're going to get that can be communicated to the?
We can share that with you later.
Okay. When would be the best time to follow
I
up?
don't know, but we can get it to you.
Okay. All right. And then lastly, with the code enforcer leaving, when we had the exit interview, did they give reasonings why they were leaving?
He took another job. I mean, he was offered another job.
So was pay or was it?
We can't disclose personnel
Okay,
issues
okay,
with.
that's totally fine. That is all. Thank you.
Any other, oh, sorry, did you want?
I just wanted to, just to highlight, last Saturday, we had what is it, the Colmar Manor Free Store. And the Free Store was such a success because of Miss Renee bringing it, and every time there was an event, she would have the Free Store. And this past weekend, it was a success. And it's a success because of volunteers like former council member Vivian Jackson and other residents of the town who put so much time and energy into making it happen. So just want to say thank you to them and all that they do with the Free Store. Yeah, thank you.
Any other public comments, either in person or via Zoom?
Julianne Bethay, 4206 Monroe Street. Two things. I've noticed that Bates has not been picking up the yard waste on Mondays. Is there a reason? Did they change it?
No, and in fact, we had Chief and I were, well, Chief called Bates today because they also missed a section of town for garbage. That's just it's just an ongoing Bates issue.
Because they were very late collecting trash on Monday. And the second thing, I walked the town and now that the code enforcement office is gone, there are a lot of homes that have trash in the front. And they're mainly things that need to be done by heavy trash pickup or bulk trash, and it's not happening. And also, I see where they have tires out. They may have automobile parts sitting out there. Is there something that can be done to help collect that, to get them off the street?
Yeah, I'll chime in for a moment. Bates, I know it was the holidays and it was just terrible timing that Bates did not do yard waste on the Monday after Christmas, and they were supposed to do it this Monday. I've driven around and it looks like they may have picked up some. There are some out there still, and I'm gonna let them know where that is. And for bulk, they missed, it was a scheduled miss because we put out notices that they were not coming for 2 weeks in a row, which at Christmas time is a terrible time not to do bulk. And speaking with residents, they said they were off. That's when they took time to clean out the garage and set it on the curb. So there's a lot of it out there. Hopefully, I went around today. I've sent the list to Bates. Hopefully it will disappear tomorrow. And then I know there's tires in that. Sometimes we get lucky and Bates picks it up. Most times not. Sometimes they'll pick up things that they won't, but hopefully most of it will be gone tomorrow. Tomorrow, Wednesday.
Any other comments? Okay, so old business we have on here, the car wash lot development. So it was included in my update where I talked about this letter. I also am due to meet with, I'm gonna reach out to the Michael Company again just to see where we're at. I'm due to meet with Council Member Ivy and I want to schedule a conversation that's dedicated to this car wash lot development and invite some subject matter experts to attend and speak to the town. So that's what's happening with that at the moment with old business. Any questions?
I remember we got advice to reach out to Juanica Fisher, Delegate Fisher. Have we, I mean, I was just wondering. Oh, she's county council now. Ooh, never mind.
Well, we should be reaching out to all council members.
Yeah.
So
All right. Yeah. No, I'll champion.
you'll
I'll
reach out to her?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so new business. I'll hand it over to our town administrator.
Yes, so before you, there's at the last page, there's 2 pages here from an email chain. We were notified at the end of the year by, let me go back a step. Cottage City and the town of Colmar Manor have had a joint code enforcement split 50-50 over the past several years. At the end of the year, this past year, we received notification from them that they had made an error. Their accounting department and treasurer made an issue. I believe we updated you all on this slightly, the council on this. Some of this money goes back to 2021, or no, yeah, 2021 for unpaid bills because they never sent them to us. And so there are several invoices that they have passed along to us. Unfortunately, they're from 2 different fiscal years prior to this fiscal year. So it's money that is owed, but we have to take it out of our unreserved to pay for it because it was from previous fiscal years. So the grand total of that is $20,371. And they provided all the invoicing and the explanation for what happened. And it was just really bad communication on their part and then missed on our part. So your options are you don't have to pay because they failed to invoice us in time, or you pay it. But if you do pay it, you have to, we both need a motion to transfer the money from unreserved and then also a motion to approve the payment.
Mr. Baden, do you have anything to add to this?
Sure. I had actually gave the council a review of this at the December town meeting to let you know that this was coming. We did ask them for additional substantiation, as to why this took place. And I think Greg just gave you, what that answer was. They had a time where their treasurer position was vacant. There's miscommunication internally with Cottage City. During the time the treasurer was out, they hired a new one. At the end of the fiscal year, which was fiscal year 22 that ended June 30th, I could have caught it and I didn't. Normally I would catch something like that, but I was thinking that there was a in between the transition of the 2 different code enforcement officers that we had, Mr. Richardson and Mr. Wade, I thought there was a longer break in time. And so I was thinking, that was the reason for, the lower amount of cost for code enforcement. So I really didn't think too much into it. Wasn't until the manager of Cottage City sent over the overdue invoices, and it's basically 8 months. It's July of 2021 through January 31st of 2022, and then also April of 2022. So there's 8 months that are currently outstanding and being asked for. And as Greg said, it totals $20,371. I mean, you cannot pay it, but, I don't think that bodes well for our relationship with Cottage City. It was overlooked on their part. I believe the proper, thing to do would be to approve the costs and allocate the money, as stated.
Dan, would it be fair to say too, since there was that savings during those years, I mean, this would have been technically budgeted during them, would have rolled into unreserved after that year anyway.
Correct. Yep.
I think that would be fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't spend as much as we had budgeted for last fiscal year. It was only the one fiscal year because it went from July of 2021 through June of 2022, and these 8 months fall within that time frame. So it is only one fiscal year. We, as the town of Colmar Manor, budgeted for and operated in a deficit for the year. It just wasn't as high as we had originally anticipated and budgeted for. So if we would have paid these in fiscal year 2022, we'd still be in a deficit, but it was, budgeted that way. So, the funds are, in unreserved for, as far as that goes. And, I think it'd be appropriate to make that transfer and pay the bills.
So what happens when we get audited? Will this show up or did it show up in an audit report?
Well, this was last year, and they didn't catch it and they didn't ask the question either as to, why are you, so far under budget on your code enforcement costs. So, I didn't catch it. Cottage City didn't bill it. I didn't catch it, through my analysis and preparation of the statements, and the auditors didn't question it. So, no one really, didn't come to anyone's attention at that point.
Don't you think that's a problema?
In what way?
How can we make sure that this doesn't happen again? Like, is there anything that we can do in the future to make sure that this doesn't happen?
On a monthly basis, I'm, reviewing the financial report at the end of, during the year, and at the end of the year, I'm looking at actual to budget. You as a council, are looking at the report. Greg is looking at the report. The auditors are looking at it. Should someone have caught it? I mean, logically, you'd say yes, but not everything is caught. The audit is only a sampling of your transactions. They do look at budget versus actual, and they do ask questions as to, why are you over budget? Why are you under budget? Why did you spend more money in this category, than prior years? But I don't recall them ever asking anything about, this item during this past audit. So, did we catch the other 99 items? Yes. Did we catch this one? No.
I don't have any comment or question. Oh, sorry. I don't have any comment or question. I feel like Greg's little, the piece that he had, the additional piece that he added, it kind of puts into perspective that like it would have been spent anyway. And so now I'm kind of looking at it like, dang, I was being petty before. I was like, no, but now I'm like, it would have been spent anyway. So this is lost money. It's lost money. So I guess, why not?
Well, not lost money. It's money that was used towards someone's salary.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
We received the services for which they're asking payment
Kind
for.
of puts into perspective for me that, maybe it's for the best that we, sever our relationship in this regard with code enforcement or other things with Cottage City. Right. And because, yeah, like things like that. And then there were other issues that we were aware of that happened. So we can be friends we can be friends in committees, right? Like Green Team, we've had our Green Team meetings, to joint Green Teams meetings, because we have similar environmental concerns that pertain to our towns. But maybe since we're in different municipalities and we're incorporated, we should keep our books separately.
Thank you. And I will say that I'm working very hard on establishing good relationships with our neighboring towns, especially with Cottage City. Okay, so I would like to request a motion to approve the town administrator's report. Oh, sorry, the transfer.
I'll make that motion stated. Councilmember Melinda Mendoza.
I'll second that motion.
Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2, Ward 3 vacant, Ward 4.
We didn't state a motion. Transport.
So I'll make that motion. This is Councilmember Melinda Mendoza. I will make a motion to approve the payment and transfer of $20,371 from unreserved to code enforcement lien item.
Councilmember Harden, I'll second that motion.
Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3 vacant, Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. So that's for the transfer. Okay, so now I'd like to request a motion to actually pay this amount to the town of Cottage City.
I believe that first motion did both.
I'll second.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm gonna, if it's okay, I just want to add, I'm sorry. I want to add a couple of things. Okay. So we're actually, well, we can talk about it again in February, but we have the council seat that is up for election. So I mentioned this at our work session for people that have questions on what a council member does. So the council member has a commitment to their particular ward. People have asked me, what's the time commitment? And what I'm telling people is it's anywhere between 25 to 35 hours a month. You're expected to attend the council meeting. So you have a work session the first Tuesday of the month, and then the second Tuesday you have a public town meeting. You will also be expected to attend town events, to participate in different initiatives and projects. You will receive professional development. So thankfully the town does pay for you to go to the MML training in Ocean City in the summertime. There's also a winter conference. There are different opportunities for professional development throughout the year. And this is something that all council members should seek out. Particularly, it's very important for our council members to go out into the community, meet other towns, meet other council members, meet our elected officials like our delegate, like our state senator, like the Prince George's County Council. So you are expected to make these relationships with these people and to come up with solutions to issues in our town, but also to work with the mayor and to work as a team. So what I'm hoping will happen is that we'll find someone that works well with others and that will be a valuable team member. Am I missing anything?
I mean, I don't think you're missing anything, but I think in the same regard that we did last week, the council should go through and say, the expectation, or at least on our behalf. And for me, Councilmember Harden, this is a very rewarding position for anyone who's running for this, but it's rigorous, it's difficult. Beyond the means of time management, beyond the means of creativity or whatever it may cause for your mental strength, it's demanding in the sense that sometimes you're gonna have to choose between dinner or I'm going to go answer this resident right now and make sure, or I'm going to type up this email for someone because this resident requested that I reach out to such and such. And a lot of times those difficulties may make you feel drawn back from yourself or just feel second place or the burner or back burner to a lot of things in your life. But at the same time, when you get the outcome, the wanted outcome for that person or for the situation, I feel like it speaks volumes to what can happen for community. So anyone that's coming into this position, understand that like it's work, but it's well worth it.
And if you've watched any of our council meetings, you'll see that people can be very mean, they can be very cruel, and we're all volunteers. We do receive a stipend, so council members receive $6,000 for their service for a year. Mayor receives 10,000. You will get calls from people at all hours of the night. I do receive phone calls from people who are drunk. But this is what I signed up for. So I want to set your expectation if there's anyone that is running or anyone that you would like to nominate to run. Do we all agree on everything? No, we do not. But we respect each other. We try to work together, and we research things. So when you're thinking about someone to nominate or someone who's thinking about running, you want to pick someone that does good research, someone that has good relationships, someone that will speak to others respectfully, someone that will build relationships and be the pride of our town. We've mentioned here that it's not an easy job, but it's very rewarding. You could also tell that this evening, all the love that we shared with Mr. Bowles. So just the same as when I say people are mean and cruel, people are also very kind. So sometimes when I get beat up on, I get phone calls afterwards that tell me, hey, you're doing a good job. Don't let the people who treat you negatively weigh you down. And I really appreciate that. But these are all things that you need to keep into consideration if you're deciding to run for a position with the town. So for me, it's also been incredibly rewarding, and it's an honor for me. And I hope that it will be an honor for anyone who decides to run as well. We have lots of projects, and we need someone that's a mover and a go-getter, not someone that, but someone that actually can produce results. So please keep that in mind. And for everyone who's in Ward 3 that's eligible to vote, please register to vote, go out and vote. I fought very hard to make sure that everyone's voice gets heard, so don't let it go to waste. And this goes for everyone who's a US citizen. If you haven't registered to vote, super easy to register to vote online. Grant programs. So we still have grant programs that are available. So for nonprofits, we have a grant program for anyone that's looking to do projects in our town. And I mentioned this to the visitors that were here. We also have the financial assistance for residents. So please, if you are in need of money, financial support to pay your mortgage or to pay your utility bills, please reach out to us. The deadline or the closing date of this program is the 31st of January. Don't wait anymore. If we don't get enough people to use all the funding that we have, we'll open it up again for something different. But in the meantime, if you are in need, please reach out to us, come to the office. Also, communications. You may have been receiving phone calls and text messages about updating your information with the town. So we're transitioning into a new mode of collecting information so that we can keep in communication with the town residents. So if you receive a phone call asking you for your name and your email address, trust that it's us. We're calling you. I have volunteers that come in that call people asking them for this information so that we can make sure to get you information as we have it via text message or email. We want to make sure that we're able to connect with people in all different modes of communication. And then finally, actually not finally, sorry, just going back to the furniture in our office and the renovation that we're currently going through. It is, for me, a point of pride, and I want to thank Greg for all of his help with it. That office was disgusting. That carpet was disgusting. There were stains that hadn't been removed for years. There was dust. So I am thankful that we have a space that's cleaner and that's safer for people to work in. So we have a new floor and we'll be getting new furniture. Again, I want people to be proud of their town hall. So when we have elected officials come here or people that want to give us money or anyone, they come into a space that's professional. And that's what we're trying to build here. And then finally, because we have a seat open, I'm asking for everyone's patience. There are a lot of projects that we were focusing on. This completely blindsided me and it completely blindsided us. So we had a retreat planned, we've had to reschedule or actually postpone the retreat. And a lot of our focus is not on what we need to be doing. Now it's on a special election. So please be patient with us as we go through this whole process. And that's pretty much it for me. Anyone want to add anything? Okay. Okay, I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
Councilmember Harden, I'll make that motion as stated.
Councilmember Hobbs seconded.
Okay, word one. Do we need to vote? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.